Hello everybody, this is Dark Skeleton, and in this video I wanted to give you 10 Starbound tips for new beginners from one beginner to another. Tip number 1. It may not look like it, but the Starbound worlds actually loop around, so if you go all the way to the right, you will eventually end up at your starting point. Tip number 2. Healing salves are a godsend. You can craft them for 10 plant matter, and I always have them on my number 2 slot so that I can heal after combat. I recommend you always have some on hand because you never know when you're going to need them. Number 3. Crafting hunting spears or a hunting bow increases the chance that enemies will drop meat. While I would say it's overall harder to kill an enemy with the bow than your starting broadsword, the meat can be worth it easily. The reason for that is that the healing salves make it pretty easy to recover your HP, while if you don't eat, you will eventually die of starvation. Number 4. Because food is so precious to the early game and starvation is a real threat, you should be constantly harvesting any crops you see as you go. Number 5. It may not seem very intuitive, but the hotkey to actually open up the campfire for cooking is E, not C for crafting. This also applies to any other workbench you may use. Number 6. You can combo your sword attacks using left click and right click to inflict additional damage. You might notice that there's actually an energy bar below your HP. That's what the secondary right click attack uses to deal extra damage. Number 7. If you want to save your warp down point, you can create a flag of your race and put it down in the location you want to be able to warp to. This does require getting some of the early game materials, but I definitely think it's worth it. Number 8. If you happen to come across camps set up by non-player characters, there's no punishment for taking their stuff and using it for your own survival, so it might be a good idea. Number 9. When the game gives you direct advice like don't go into the mines until you have better equipment, you should probably listen to it, because the game won't hold your hand after that. I only very narrowly escaped here. Finally, number 10. If you're starting the game out in survival mode, you're probably going to die quite a lot starting off. Don't get too discouraged about that. I'm a seasoned Terraria player with hundreds of hours of experience, and I still died a lot starting out in Starbound. It's just another part of the game, and you can always run back and pick up your gear. So, I've been Dark Skeleton. That's going to be it for my 10 initial beginner tips from one beginner to another. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you'd like, subscribe for more, and I'll see you in my future content.